Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules the Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today is the first time we're going to be talking about Soul Eater, an anime that was suggested by you, the audience. We have so many more anime to watch coming up this season. All of these anime have been suggested by either me or Matt, and by you, the community. If you'd like to add an anime to the chest to be picked out randomly after we finish Soul Eater, $5 super chat on YouTube or 500 bits on Twitch. $5 super chat on YouTube, 500 bits on Twitch. Give us a name of an anime. We can put it up there. And we have so many that we've already seen. Back to back, I think it was back to back S rank anime that we watched already. Delicious in Dungeon and Vinland Saga. And maybe this anime will be added. So it'll go somewhere.
It's gonna go somewhere.
It's going somewhere. I don't go on these anime journeys alone. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. I was just talking to you a little bit beforehand about like this super discussion that I was having the other day about the lovely differences between setting and genre and etc the different things that make up stories, because oh man, we have a story this week that we're diving into, and it is definitely like when I think anime, this is the type of show that kind of like used to probably like come to the forefront of mind, like shows like this, the wackiness, the zaniness, because this is definitely a show that came out before we had like streaming services popularized, and it was mainly like shonen and like the magical girl stuff that was getting kind of like pushed. And this show kind of like is a somewhat interesting cross between the two of sorts. Like it's like a subversion of like magical girl transformation, maybe, because it's like instead of magical girls we have like deadly weapons, but some of them are girls, some of them are guys. It's an interesting setup that
I think that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Because I do got to say again off the top, I have read 4 of the omnibuses. I have the Soul Eater Perfect Editions 1 through 4, and that's like 8 books or whatever. So I've read an okay amount of it, and I finished them all 4 of them. I'm definitely going to get more. So I do enjoy it. I think I do enjoy it because of that, where even in the books it was sort of that funny zany sort of stuff with some fan service, and I'm like, okay, it has enough, but it doesn't go overboard, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, whatever, it's fine. And it also has some really interesting stuff in there and some really interesting characters, and I'm falling in love with these characters. So it's like really cool in that way, where it's like a mix of everything. And yes, while watching this, it did feel like shonen-esque, a little bit of that. I don't know, it's gonna be hard because I know more, and like this is one of the only ones where I'm like, I read that, I know. Oh well, we just did Vinland Saga, but I didn't get that far into that one. But yeah, it was surprisingly looked really well. Like it looked really good
for an anime from the latest second half of the early 2000s, second half of the 2000s.
I think we looked at it was 2008.
Yeah, that it started to air in the States. So it definitely holds up well in terms of its art style. Like it's got style. It's got style. Like
it's very stylistic.
One of the only things around this time that I can think of that kind of like matches, like in this first episode, we kind of like get the little town where they fight Jack the Ripper, and it like the environment looks like something ripped out of something like from like Kingdom Hearts or like a Final Fantasy game. It's very interesting, and the character designs kind of go to match, where they're just very eclectic and off the wall, and they're each just kind of like doing their own thing for the sake of it, because we're just here for cool design. And I like, that's rule of cool. I'm here for it with their designs.
I was really blown away because when I started reading manga, I started reading Fire Force, and then I was like, what else did this mangaka make? And he made Soul Eater before, and I was like, oh my god, okay, like I've heard of that one. People usually say it's up there, or like an old school anime manga that people should try, and I just tried it, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. You can see sort of, not so much in the anime, in the books you can see some art that is similar, and I'm like, this is very cool.
in the Soul and the main character of Fire Force, their character designs are kind of similar. You know, the
Yeah.
white hair, spiky teeth, just kind of like in it to win it mindset. So that there's like kind of like a parallel there. But other than that, like it's a very different like tone of the story. Kind of, even though at the end of the day, it's like, you know, kids with powers fighting demons to save the world.
Hmm.
So
So let's get into it.
we're getting some cool power system introduced here in the
Yeah.
first episode for
Very
sure.
cool. So, episode 1, Resonance of the Soul. Will Soul Eater become a death scythe? What happens in episode 1?
We meet Maka and Soul Eater, a Meister and weapon enrolled in the DWMA, an academy dedicated to stopping Kishins, humans who have strayed too far from humanity. After collecting their 99th soul, Death sends them off to collect a witch's soul in order to turn Soul Eater into a death scythe. And upon discovery of a pumpkin house, Maka and Soul confront the one living inside. Maka and Soul have trouble operating as a team, and Soul seems to turn coats. However, he was just operating under a ruse, which allows Maka to deliver a finishing blow, only to discover they were fighting a cat, not a witch, forfeiting all 99 of their souls.
Oh, brother. She's not a witch. She looks like a witch. So we get. I love
Appearances
Blair.
aren't everything, right?
That's true. Okay. I'm going to punch the camera. So enter in the Death Weapon Meister Academy, the DWMA. So they're training to prevent Kishins, which are going to destroy the world. They keep saying that in the intro, like these things are against humanity or something. They're going to be used against humanity, and we need to stop them. So this is our easiest fucking narrative to start out with. Prevent. This is the school to prevent these things. We're good starting. We got introduction to Maka and Soul. I love these two little guys. Like, even just the way that they look. Like, I just like Maka's just so cute, and Soul is he's cute, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Like it's just, you know, like I was saying, it's that rambunctious energy. You know,
Yeah.
he might not be the biggest dog in the fight, but he's gonna be the one fighting till the end. It sets up an interesting dynamic with them where, you know, we have all these weapons and meisters, the whole idea of these duos, and here we have Maka and Soul, who seem to like they're friendly enough. You get the idea that they're friends, but you just they are constantly butting heads, and they are not working well with each other, even though they both are clearly, like, you know, Maka is clearly skilled with the scythe, as she's been able to you know, kill the or destroy the 99
Jack the
Kishins up
Ripper.
to now, Jack the Ripper included. And you know, Soul shows that he is just as down as Maka is when the going gets tough, so to speak. But yeah, it's just this slight tension that they have with each other through their fight with I forgot to write the witch's name.
Blair
Blair the witch. So
She's my
there's like just
favorite.
there's just this tension that's going on with them throughout the fight, and like I you know, it's the first episode, and I know we're not going to have the one of the main duos split up in the first episode, but I kind of was bought into the idea, you know, Soul, I just want to be with Blair the Witch, man. This
Yeah.
whole, he keeps referring to Maka as being short stacked, and I'm just like, I'm writing this guy off. Fuck
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, definitely.
Maka,
And
you deserve better. You deserve a better father. You deserve a better weapon. At
oh
all the
god.
things. And then it turns out that he was just, you know, he had that plan the entire time.
Yeah, it was. I'm really glad that they pushed that super hard. I didn't think they would do that in the first episode. But that's part of Maka and Soul's sort of dynamic, and that's part of what they can, you know, you can see the story, the beginnings of the story. They are not working well together. They are butting heads, even though Maka is in control of the scythe Soul. He can, like, not agree with her on some things, and they
Yeah.
don't work on strategy. They're not connected really, and
They're
that
operating
plays
as their own individuals, it
and that
seems.
plays into their story a whole lot, and that's like a big deal about Maka and Soul's growth, because again, these are like kids, sort of. But man, I really like the fight was better than I thought it would be. When like thinking about starting Soul Eater, it looks really great on the pages, but like the fight with Jack the Ripper, the motion looks pretty good. I was like,
Yeah.
wow. I don't know if Crunchyroll like remastered it or something, but I'm like, this looks great. Like
I
it
think
didn't
I
seem
think
like it
it must
came out
have
a long
been
time ago.
remastered for like widescreen format, because I feel
Yeah.
like in the 2008 it would have been coming in for 4:3 format, but again, maybe not. Maybe they just stretched it.
I don't know, but I was like really happy with the fights, the
With anime
motion.
especially, though, it's just like, yeah, style outweighs fidelity, I feel like, in terms like style pays more dividends than fidelity does.
Yeah.
So the style of the show and the way the animate, like the fight scene kind of like flowed, even though it's not like super highest quality, it's like I'm following it because it's very well intentioned and the choreography is good. It's like
Mhm.
watching going back and watching like the lightsaber battles out of the prequel Star Wars movies. It's like, man,
Yeah.
the choreography
Yeah.
on point. So even though these movies are older, I can just
Yeah.
enjoy this for that sake.
Definitely. Yeah, like I definitely agree, because it's like, yeah, it's fine. We'll get rid of like the fidelity, like you're saying, but that was cool. That was pretty cool. How are you feeling about this gothic vibe? Like we
Yeah.
get the streets, we got this sort of setting place, we get this ethereal place where death is, and it's like, okay, this has its own just whole vibe and aura. I mean,
hmm
the you didn't get a picture of the sun, but the sun's just
The
a
sun and the
guy, a
moon, yeah,
face.
just like up there
Like it's
laughing.
super like just gothic vibe, and I really enjoy that part of it. It's its own thing.
It is its own thing, and that's why I like I compare it to something kind of like Kingdom Hearts, kind of like that fantasy, like just super like juicy color vibes, almost like Disney came in and puked all over an anime, you
Yeah.
know. But it's like you said, it's like it's still gothic and it's morbid, and the imagery is like never like it even doesn't get into like the degree of like what Chrono Crusade got into with like showing dead bodies and stuff. Like this
hmm
show keeps the vibes high, even
hmm
though it's like we're out here slaying demons and stuff, but it's like when I cut through a demon, they just go
Yeah.
and like
And
there's
then
just a
whoop,
little ball
little
floating
soul.
there. Yeah, exactly. I'm just collecting the XP orbs basically.
Yeah,
And
pretty much.
there's no mess, there's no gore or anything like that. So even though it's gothic and the imagery is very dark and dreary, we have Death himself as like, you know, our headmaster. It's
Brother,
not
he
like
a
he's
silly
a silly
guy.
guy. Death is just a silly guy. He's out here giggling and
Bonking.
bonking people on the head with his reaper chop.
I love Death. He is the coolest guy. He's sort of like a Dumbledore style, like just but to times 10, because he's even sillier. He's like the headmaster. But basically what Maka and Soul are doing, what drives this whole episode forward, is that we're looking for we get Maka's 99th soul. Once you get 99 souls and then one witch's soul, your weapon will become Death Scythe or Death's Scythe. So they all want to aspire to be Death Scythe. I don't know what that actually means. I haven't gotten to that part yet where, like, what does that mean? Because her dad, Maka's dad, is Death Scythe. So will
And
he
he
go
like
away? Is there only one Death Scythe?
he like did a thing. So I feel like it's like all the weapons have their like Death Scythe form or something like that. Because even later on, when Death the Kid is talking, he's like, "Yeah, like I just want to make them what I want to make them." He's like,
Okay.
I have my own thing in mind, so
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. Is it? Soul is going to become a death scythe specifically, and then the rest of them are like becoming death weapons, or is it all of them? All of them like kind of become a death scythe.
I don't think they say yet, but the way that I see it is that one weapon person becomes Death Scythe, and that's what Death uses.
Okay,
So like he becomes Death's weapon now.
I
Don't know what
see.
that means.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just kind of alluding to it, but that's something that they want. So they go to Blair. Blair blasts Maka. We see a sort of interlude with Death Scythe. That's his name, right? They just call him Death Scythe. Maka's dad, where he's sort of at a club with some girls. They talk about her mom a little bit. So we get some stuff there a little bit.
Even Maka said, "I hate you, Dad."
Yeah, it's kind of I hate dad, I hate boys vibe because
Yeah.
when Soul is going away from her, he's like, I'm gonna be Blair's weapon. She's pretty cool. Maka gives off this like big men suck vibe, sort of, and it's like fuck
And in
everything.
that
Flashback
moment,
to her
I do
dead.
not blame her.
No, that's totally fine. I mean, the way that she says, um, she sees the flashback of her dad, like doing the things like her dad and her mom were like happy at some point, but then something happened to where he sucks. So now she hates him. Fucking Soul, the one that I'm supposed to be partners with, just like, okay, I'm out. See ya. And it's like, man, these guys suck. And yeah, nope, it was a trick. Soul eats Blair's soul. Nope. I was a cat.
Psych.
Ain't a
That's the
cat
wrong
soul.
number.
Have to start all over. Great.
And even me for a second, I can't believe this got me. I like felt like smacking myself upside the head. Like when I was like, then how are you still alive?
Yeah.
How Blair? And then she's like, don't you know cats have 9 lives? It's like,
But how is she able to change into a human? Whatever, man.
apparently the weapons are humans too. They're humans that can turn into weapons. So who cares?
They're I don't know. Yes. So like, yeah, that too. We can kind of get into that. Like, what is happening? Because we have the Meisters who are people. We have the weapons who are people who can turn into weapons, but they still have to like piss and poop and eat or whatever human things, and they have a brain, I'm assuming. So like, what makes them different? What makes one person a weapon and one person a Meister? Or can everybody be a weapon? Meister just choose not to. What do you think?
Just My Hero Academia rules, man. Some people are born with the extra knuckle in their left toe or something like that. Yeah. And that's what decides it. Like just that, like you could go with those rules, or you could go with what's it called rules? Solo leveling rules. One day the laws of the universe changed and everybody was given a grade, and in this case everybody was given a role of Meister or weapon. Everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think in the first 4 episodes we only interact with people that are a part of this DWMA like circle, meaning Meisters, weapons, and anybody associated with like the jobs that they're on. We haven't seen like, are there civilians? Is there like
anybody else?
We're talking about saving the world, but the world is the DWMA for me. Yeah. In these 4 episodes,
we see people eating souls and stuff. Like they're bad. They're bad guys.
The bad guys. They're part of the mission. But I guess we actually see Jack the Ripper killing one innocent lady and then almost killing another. So
shit's crazy. Kishin are running around. You want to just be out in the open?
They seem so caught off guard that like, why would you be wandering around late at night if the potential of like a demon just like wandering upon you and wanting to eat your soul is like around? Like, I feel like we'd be living in a world where everybody would just be like, what's it called? Hard curfews and stuff like that. But it doesn't seem like we're there. So I don't know. Like, these are just silly questions that
it doesn't matter,
could be thrown at the world as it's being presented. But it doesn't matter. But it is curious.
Enter Black Star. Tsubaki as his weapon. He's about to take down Al Capone. He is the master assassin. After this first episode, Matt, would you continue? We have some really cool elements, pretty cool intro, interesting enough concept, some fan service. Would you continue if you were watching this on your own?
Nowadays, yes. Before I started doing the show here, probably not. I probably would have skipped this and gone
Hmm.
and found something else that probably would have like fit my vibe at that time
Yeah.
better. But I feel like I'm at a point where I can like kind of put aside the things that like I don't like about a show to enjoy the parts of it that I do like. And there are a lot of the just in this first episode parts of the show that I do like. I enjoy the whole power system idea because it sets up a very interesting dynamic between literally all the characters, and that every like fight essentially has to operate with two characters at
Hmm.
least. It can never really be like a true 1v1 scenario, and like at least that's what I'm seeing so far. So that's an interesting setup already. But also the way that it was kind of like, oh, prologue one, and then we're going to introduce you to the next character in another prologue episode. I like the way that the show is wants to take time to dedicated time to introduce all these characters before we get into the larger story, even
Yeah.
though it could be seen as kind of like just kind of like weighing it down. Like if it's the prologue, like why don't we just start from where the real story starts? But I do think that giving these characters, the weapon and meisters, a second to kind of like showcase their dynamics before the larger story gets going adds a lot. So
Yeah, it's really important. It is gets you connected to the characters first, and then now we can go off onto the adventure, and they give you a lot of information in these first three. Episode 2, I am the star. The big man is showing up here. What happens in episode 2?
we meet Black Star and Tsubaki, a Meister and weapon that seem to have a very hard time finishing their jobs and collecting souls due to Black Star's grandiose tendencies. Soul defends Black Star as someone who is more than just talk, and Black Star and Tsubaki find themselves on a job confronted with many slain Kishin eggs and a bodyguard for a witch. Blackstar seems in over his head until he puts all of his assassin rules to practice, gaining the upper hand. Upon discovery that the witch is a child, Blackstar refuses to continue the fight and departs with the Kishin eggs, returning them to death instead of claiming them for Tsubaki's upgrade.
Black Star is supposed to be the best assassin. He's there about to take out Al Capone and his men. This could give him so many souls. They're eating souls casually. Al Capone's there. He is a bad assassin. He jumped down there, bro. Were you surprised when they did that with him? Because in the previous episode, at the beginning, they were setting him up like,
Yeah.
all right, he's cool. He's gonna do the thing.
No, I wasn't surprised because I was very much in the mindset like, you know, if he really is about to just clear house, like what where do we go from here?
Yeah.
So I was like, he's gonna mess up. How is he gonna mess up? Oh, got it. Like he is actually probably out of the three main characters, he might be the most like in like the three main meisters. He might be the most like capable, actually capable, but is held back by his own like like you know held back by his grandiose tendencies, the desire to want to be in the limelight
To be
and have
seen.
and be seen and have, you know, all of the flair of a, you know, of something like what we were watching previously, Vinland Saga, like those types of fights. Glorious battle is what he seeks, but you're training under the, you know, the guise of an assassin, which is somebody like he even says, you know, you should be able to take out your target before they even realize you are there. And that is something that he
Mhm.
like gloriously fails at every single time he is given a chance. He reveals his presence to allow his opponent a chance to react.
I love it. I love Black
It's
Star.
pretty funny.
Black Star is a dork. I love this character. Super fun. I love Subaki as well. Um, I also love that Black Star and Soul are kind of buddies, and like it's
Mhm.
believable.
Yeah.
Like we see them going at the academy, and then Black Star's like, "Yo, what up, Soul? Let's do it." And I'm like, "Oh, these two are great. Love these guys." Like you can tell, like they're both. Soul has the ability to be silly like Black Star, and I can see definitely Maka and Tsubaki being a little bit closer, not just because of their gender, but like these two have similar personalities. These two have similar personalities. Love these four. Love these four guys. They're so great.
And it even draws, the quickest question of like, why aren't they partners instead?
Yeah,
but
nothing would
I
get done.
nothing.
They would not get any souls. I mean, they don't have any souls now, but like it would be no chance. Um, it does. Never mind. Never mind.
No, yeah, you're totally right. It's like when you put the best friends on shift together, it's like, oh great, now no work's gonna get
Mhm.
done.
Yeah, definitely. No, they get into that. Hopefully we'll get to that when
I'm
by the
sure
time
that
of episode 12.
I'm sure that'll be acknowledged. But it
Yeah,
kind of it is acknowledged as to like why wouldn't somebody as capable, seemingly capable as Tsubaki be partnered with as somebody as seemingly just rowdy and uh you know
rambunctious
yeah
little
as
guy.
Black Star, but as as Soul states, Tsubaki can tell that he's not just talk; he's more than just his words.
Tsubaki sees it in him, and I love that. I love their sort of connection because, like you said, in this episode, it is Black Star and Tsubaki. We have them two going against Mifune, who is, and I think that's his name, Mifune, who is Angela's bodyguard, who's the witch they're trying to take down. Um, and you see Tsubaki being like, "Come on, bro!" Like she wants to plan. She wants to plan how to do certain things during the fights. This is how we should do it. Trying to bring him up a little bit, but he's like, "No, let's. I'm gonna do it the assassin way," and then he doesn't do his assassin rules that he talks about. But then when he fucking locks in, bro, Subaki's like, "That's why I'm with you." Kind of like, here it is. He I also question Tsubaki has her regular mode, and then she has Shuriken mode. What do you think of that? What are your thoughts on that? Because this is the first time that we've seen. I mean, before we had Soul,
Hmm.
and he was just a scythe. Now we have Tsubaki being multiple different whatevers.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on how a weapon person
Because yeah,
can?
when
can
he when he dropped in on Al Capone and them and then failed, and he's like Tsubaki smoke bomb mode, and it's just like, okay, yeah, she's definitely like, I guess, multi-purpose utility type deal
Mhm.
where uh an assassin does kind of have more of a utility belt of
True.
tools instead of just one thing that they would rely on. So it does draw the question, like with weapons and meisters, s- uh, we hear at one point Death classifying Maki and Blackstar both as like two definitive things. Like one of them's a scythe wielder and one of them's a dark assassin or black assassin, whatever it is. So it definitely begs the question: what is it that decides those traits? Did they
Yeah.
decide that that's what they wanted to train and become at the DWMA? Did Maka want to become a scythe wielder because her mom was also a scythe wielder, or is she a scythe wielder literally because her mom was a scythe wielder, as if it's like a genetic trait or something that got passed down to her? Those types of questions start to float into my head when I see that happening, and it's like, okay, so like it's not just like I'm using this weapon, you're using that weapon. There can be more differences between the different pairs.
And there's something added to Black Star as well, because in this moment, Mifune, once Black Star locks in, he's like, oh, he has someone else's presence here, or something like that. He says something, Black Star, I feel someone else's presence. So is there like something inside of Black Star? Kind of, it feels very Zenitsu from Demon Slayer, where like he's not the guy at all, but then when he locks in, it's like fucking go. So like I'm feeling that from Black Star. I'm curious if there's something inside of him that makes him that way. What is it that allows him to be a baller? Because this shit was dope. I like this.
When he said that he detected somebody else's presence, for me in that moment, during the reveal, I was taking that as like, oh, it's actually Tsubaki's presence here that he can detect because she's the one that's
Oh,
like that's doing the clone fake out or whatever. So
okay.
she like they were both trying to like withhold their presence, but because it was Tsubaki right there, that's the one that kind of like
Okay.
came through to him
I didn't think
while
he caught on there. So yeah, that makes sense. That he was like focused on him, but it was like, no, wait, what?
it's like it's like
Spidey senses.
I detect so I don't know it's Tsubaki, even though it is Tsubaki's presence. I just feel someone's and it's not his.
And then boom, just
And
takes
then
him out.
boom. Exactly. It's like that the analyzing and this the whole standoff moment too, like that was very smart the way he got him into a standoff moment, flipped them around, and it was probably like it like the second the standoff started, uh Black Star like went into hiding, Tsubaki's thing activates, and he's just like kind of slowly fading into the background as she's turning the guy around. In the I think it was the second they did a full 180 and they're opposite sides of each other, then it broke, and then Black Star made his move.
It's super cool. It gives us this other layer to be like, okay, maybe Black Star does have it in him because um maybe he does have that star power he's talking about. Maybe he is like the chosen one, possibly, but he's too arrogant to let it out and just let his actions show than actually looking for the limelight and stuff.
He's
So I
like
I really enjoy him.
he's like if you combined like the talent of somebody in like a Naruto, for an example, the talent of somebody of like Sasuke, but gave him the personality of somebody like Naruto, where he's just like he's got all of this innate talent because of like the conditions he was raised in from birth, or like a Killua even, just the ultimate badass, but then you just give him this really over the top goofy personality and he just can't help but slip on a banana peel every time he turns a corner type deal.
Yeah.
He's his own worst enemy. Nobody put that banana. You that was your banana peel,
You just
man.
ate the
You just
banana,
ate
put
that
it on the
banana.
floor, and now you walked into it, bro. What are you doing? But will Blackstar take the chance to have all the souls and kill Angela, the tiny little girl? And I noticed what you had messaged me. I knew what you were talking about now that I had thought about it a little bit ago. So we have this little girl, just this little girl that's a little witch, and he doesn't take the chance. He's like, no, I'm good. So he does have that part of him too, which makes his character so interesting because like yeah, he has morals and that's good um in a character like him, because he can just be like fuck everything, whatever, slice
Mhm.
slice slice, I'm gonna do my thing, get Death Scythe or become Death Scythe. But he's like, nah, not worth it, you can have all the souls, I'll get it some other way. It's like,
He's
what?
he's he's not somebody that's willing to take a shortcut at the expense of people who he doesn't believe deserve, like, the consequences of whatever happens because he's taking that shortcut. And yeah, definitely. With what Jules was saying, I told him the end of this episode gave me like Bioshock One vibes, and it's definitely from the standpoint of that. Like we had this big bodyguard defending a catalyst of power that everybody's kind of after. That's going to give them a big old power buff, but that catalyst of power happens to be a small child, and to take their power would be to literally slay that child. Bioshock gives you the choice: do you uh, do that and take the power, or do
Every
you
time.
allow do you refuse it and allow that just kind of like pass that opportunity, make the game harder on yourself, but you know that you're not taking advantage of somebody that doesn't deserve it, type deal.
Take him out.
Does the ends justify the means in this case? And in my playthrough of Bioshock, all of them, and Black Star, it would be no. The ends do
Caitlin,
not justify the means.
Caitlin played Bioshock recently as well, and she did not kill a single one. And I was like, "What are y'all doing? What's going on? Just fucking give me
No!
the Eve. I want
They
it
end
all."
up giving you the little presents
Nah,
that make up
nah.
for it
I don't need it.
anyways.
I don't need it. So yeah, I was definitely giving Big Daddy vibes with
Mhm.
the little sister. And then at the end, enter Death the Kid, the perfectionist. So we get our whole episode on Death the Kid. What happens in episode 3? The perfect boy, Death the Kid's magnificent mission.
We meet the Meister, Death the Kid,
Woo.
along with his weapons, Liz and Patty. Obsessed with symmetry to a fault, Kid allows this to tear him down at every chance that is presented. Kid needs to acquire double the souls due to having 2 weapons, and Death gives Kid a mission to stop a necromancer from reviving mummies. The necromancer is killed by the Pharaoh after their revival, and Liz and Patty are held hostage while Kid is running a symmetry errand at home. After returning, he's unable to stop the Pharaoh due to the sarcophagus being a stunning display of symmetry. When the mummy exits, Kid crashes out and destroys the pyramid, forfeiting all souls he had up to now.
It's like all these kids have, now that you mention it, they just have themselves in the way, but that also could just be
There.
like their kids. That's kind of what's going on here.
We gotta start somewhere. Give them something to grow with.
Yeah, sure. We get Death, Kid. His name is Kid, and Patty and Liz. Now he has a little quirk because I don't want to call them like downfalls. I guess they all kind of have their own little quirks together. Um, he is obsessed with things being symmetrical.
Symmetrical.
He is obsessed with maybe a little OCD about the way things are, and that's okay. He has to work with it. He has to live, and it's a little extreme, but he's working with it. He's trying.
When you
Did
guys are guns, you're perfectly the same.
You're perfectly the same,
But when you're people, your hair is different and you're different height.
and your
And
boobs
your
are different.
boobs are different.
Yeah. Got a little weird. Got a little intense.
You can say that without touching them.
They did give a close up on the squeeze, and I was like, okay, wow.
I'm just
okay.
glad every time one of these guy characters is getting those what do you call them moments? Fan service moments.
Yeah.
They immediately get like bonked or a
Yeah.
shuriken thrown in their forehead, or they get chased out of the room by an angry Maka or something like that. So at least consequences are coming from it, and it's not just boys will be boys.
Sure. Yes, definitely. Like them for that. Hello, Cosmo. Hello. Quirky sounds like our community. Yeah, they all have their own little quirks, and it's interesting. But yeah, they do have some fan service in this one, and they kind of toned it down from the manga, which is surprising. Well, it's good that they did that, but the manga is a lot. We get a lot more Blair.
And even when
I'll tell you that. We get a lot more Blair.
Even with when the show was originally airing on cable networks and stuff, they added additional censorship that like during that bath scene with Blair brushing themselves, like there's like a shampoo bottle covering the second half of them, their butt.
Oh.
So no butt shot.
I didn't know that.
Stuff like that.
So
just pretty risque.
Pretty risque. It is of the time
At times,
though. Kid is a Grim Reaper. They say that they are a Grim Reaper, so this is a type or a not human, not. I don't even know if Meister and Weapon are considered like whatever. He is a Grim Reaper.
Rolling with it.
He's going to the Pyramid of Anubis. There's a necromancer that raised the dead to feed on human souls, and there's an army of mummies. We get some information about different types of Meisters for the first time in this episode because they say Kid is not a 3-star Meister. There are starred Meisters here. I'm assuming it goes to the 3 stars is the top, but Kid is not one of them yet. During this episode, I don't know if I noticed it before, but when Kid does stuff like he was skateboarding or whatever, there's like this vibey music.
Yeah, it's Sonic Adventure music. I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm the only one getting that, or
No.
like Persona vibes.
Yeah. It's like it's cool. I was
Why
like,
don't
I don't
you
know.
tell me? Boo, boo, boo,
Yeah,
boo,
pretty
boo,
much like
boo.
that. Like
Why don't
jazzy.
you tell me?
I was like, has this been going the whole time and I just
No,
noticed it?
it's just
Or
Kid is only in the third episode, and in those scenes, it's also like the Egypt like pyramid
yeah.
like vibe too. So I don't know if like those are the correlating things, the music with the Egypt, or is it, or if it's going to be that correlation with Kid. I'd like to hear more of it.
I hope it's with Kid.
I like the music.
I hope like whenever he walks in the room, it's like boom, 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 boom. He just he's just super cool. Kick flips one and then just out. Love it. Kid, like you said, Kid went back home to make sure his painting was correct. That's what he was thinking about as he went in. And this was one of the coolest things. I love because Patty and Liz are sisters. They are his dual weapons here, but they used each other to fight the mummies. How cool is that?
That was
Like when they
super
were
cool. But it was twice as cool when they go, all right, we made sure to get equal kills, right? Because Kid would go crazy if we didn't.
mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, not only were they tandem fighting using each other as a weapon, they were making sure to share the body count.
Yeah. Love
Don't
those
put me in
girls.
his mouth.
I love them.
That got a laugh out of me.
Yeah, it's really good. Can you show us the kickflip, Jules? I cannot kickflip. I don't think Matt's about to kick.
I
Oh,
did
he
it.
did it.
There you go.
Oh,
You see
camera.
it? You missed.
Yeah, I missed
You
it.
missed it.
No kickflips here. Yeah, it. Fuck Kid, Patty and Liz. You don't need them. Y'all can do it. Like literally, Patty or Liz. Most likely, Patty can be the gun. Liz will be the person, the Meister. Like y'all could just be sister Meister weapons. Like that'll be cool.
Thompson
Necromancer.
sisters.
Yeah,
It's also the name of a gun. Thompson.
I didn't think about that. Necromancer awakens the Pharaoh, but then he eats her soul. We get some funny moments of Soul and Blackstar running around trying to find out who took the mission. I think their comedic timing in this point was really funny when they're going around and then instant flash of them running like whatever with their faces.
That was pretty funny.
And they went just keep running around.
The fisheye shot.
Yeah, the
like
fisheye.
Their faces all stretched out.
Share the body count. Hey yo, yep. Two sisters.
Oops.
Two sisters. I think I've seen that one before. I really like their comedic timing is really good. I'm assuming you watched in Japanese.
Yes. I was like kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watched the first two in Japanese with subtitles, and then I watched the last two dubbed. I think the dub is fine, not as good as some other dubs, but I'm like, it's okay.
The dub is fine. I wasn't feeling Maka's voice actor at first.
I wasn't feeling Soul's voice actor.
Really?
It was not him. His face did not fit that voice.
I felt the opposite with Soul, where when I jumped into the sub, I was like, I don't know about that voice with a kid or teenager. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It sounds like just the voice. It sounds like the voice of somebody who like, I mean, I get that they've, gotten 99 souls at this point, but it really sounded like the voice to me.
99 souls in a witch ain't one.
Done some shit and seen some things type deal, but it's like, I'm not buying that from his personality at whole, really. Mm-hmm. But with Maka, she just sounded a little bit too what's the word for it? Like tepid at first.
Yeah.
Like the more I was like listening to the more time was going forward, the more their voice actors were growing on me, including in the sub. Like honestly, I think I don't mind either. I think they're both passable quality. I will say in the fourth episode with the fight against Sid, I did not like his sub guy doing the ding dongs. It's like, man, you just sound too goofy.
Yeah, you don't
sound intimidating at all.
You sound dumb.
And even like just like that guy's dialogue
It wasn't.
It like his voice actor didn't sound like that's the voice that would be saying those words
Yeah.
specifically. Like
Yeah.
it's like you don't sound old enough to be speaking how you are.
Yeah.
To
Yeah. It was okay
get
at
ahead of
best.
myself.
I'm probably gonna go back to watching it subs. Patty and Liz take down all the mummies. Kid takes quite a beating from this perfect pharaoh here. Um, he can't pull the trigger on something so beautiful and symmetrical. But then he says, or as the, what is it called? The pharaoh. When the pharaoh comes out, he's like, "You're hideous. This sucks." Kid fucking locks in, takes him down, just blasts him. And now we
Bro
see the
goes
true
Dante
power.
mode.
Yeah, we see the true power of Patty and Liz there and Kid. The pyramid ends up blowing up, and all the souls he collected are confiscated. And it says here the prologue is complete. We can start our story now. So, episode 4, engage the witch hunter, a remedial lesson in the graveyard. What happens in episode 4?
Maka, Soul, Black Star, and Tsubaki are all thrown in a bin for remedial classes as they all possess a collective 0 souls. They are tasked with capturing a zombie that was turned from a former teacher, Sid. They go to the cemetery where Sid was buried and confront him as he wields his own tombstone. Even in death, Sid continues to give advice to his ex-pupils as Maka continues to be odd at the display of a 3-star Meister. They eventually are able to pin down Sid and take him to the lab of the one who turned him, the best Meister to ever attend DWMA, Frankenstein.
Excuse me, Dr. Frankenstein. He did not go to doctor school.
DWMA?
He did, yeah, he did not go to the academy to not be called doctor. Speaking of teachers, we see Maka's father, Death Scythe, be the substitute teacher for their class. And I really do like seeing them outside of what they're doing, like the main story, them fighting, getting souls. That's fine. I do like when they see each other in the halls, when they're going to class. Like I like those little interlude sort of things. Especially this because we're continuing to see why Maka fucking hates her dad because he kind of sucks. He's the substitute teacher that said, "The bell doesn't dismiss you, I dismiss you," and instantly characterized it for me. I was like, this guy sucks.
And then also is like, yeah, I'm not going to take role for the guys. I'm just going to take role for the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hey,
all
what
right,
up,
guy.
ladies?
You are literally old enough to be. You are literally the dad
You
of
are
a student in this classroom.
of a lady here. Yes, you are literally the father of one of these ladies you're going to be taking attendance from. And he gives Soul an E. This is the lowest grade I can give you. E. Okay,
and
whatever.
Steven Soul's like, hey, what'd you write?
What are you doing down there?
What did you just
What are you
do?
doing?
And then he's like, oh yeah, anyways, Death wants to talk to you guys.
Yeah. Like there's like so many little bits like that where it's just like really funny and really dumb, but I'm like I can suspend myself from the world. I'm just like I just want to be a silly little guy.
Yeah.
If you want to be
just
a
like,
silly little
exactly.
guy,
Just take those moments out, and then what are we left with? Literally just either exposition or action. I want things that like we know how these characters are. Just give us moments of them interacting with each other with, whatever it is. Here's Soul, Maka, and Death Scythe if Death Scythe became the substitute teacher. Just real quick, just a little thing.
hey Maka,
then we're moving on.
Maka, I love you.
I've been playing Fire Emblem Engage, and in that game it reminds me of like over the course of the game you unlock more like little interludes with the characters in your little war band as you grow bonds with them, and it's like if it wasn't for things like that, little moments, it would just be a game about moving characters on a battlefield. It's like I want something to also just give me a moment to breathe between those high intensity moments, which we get right. The whole rest of this episode is basically an extended fight scene.
Pretty much. So we have Death calling Maka and Soul and Blackstar and Tsubaki to an assignment together because between all 4 of them, 0 souls. Y'all got 0 souls. What the fuck are y'all doing?
he's like
Yeah.
this 0 0 0.
Yeah. Bro, what are y'all doing out here? So they're doing a remedial
Killing
lesson.
cats.
Yeah. Killing cat souls. Um, it's great. We want storyline. No storyline. Not at all. Just fights. Only fight. That's it. Anime only fight.
No fight. No fight.
Someone changed Sid into a zombie, so they have to go take him down, or they're going to be expelled. Easy enough. They head down to Hook Cemetery. Maka is. I put Maka's kind of a nerd here because she's talking about books or reading or something. I was like, Maka's kind of a nerd. She's like the one nerd out of all four of them because the two boys just want to vibe, and then Tsubaki's kind of, I don't know, can't really get a vibe from Tsubaki yet. Just yet.
Tsubaki's just the mom. She's like, I just want
I feel
everybody to like not get hurt.
Yeah.
I want us to just do what we need to do. She's like, she tries to be the voice of reason for Black Star, actively knowing that that reason isn't going to always land.
Yeah. Jules was elected to lead, not to read. Yeah. Readings for squares. They are all 1-star Meisters. So we find out that they are 1-star Meisters. Sid is a 3-star Meister. He used to be a teacher for the school. We get a cut to Blair wanting to take a class. I'm not far enough in the books to know where Blair ends up or where her storyline's going, but there's a lot of Blair in the books, and usually it's the fan service side, but her storyline is moving forward. So I'm like, where is this going? I still don't know. Not there yet, but they put it here that Blair wants to take classes, so maybe she'll show up at the academy. Who knows? Black Star gets a good hit in. Maka says we need fear to grow stronger. So she Death specifically says that Maka can fight despite her fear. So we get this whole evolution here. Soul resonance of Maka, and Soul becomes a big scythe. How did you feel about this whole fight in the cemetery?
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a pretty interesting fight. I like the whole idea that Sid, even in death, even after getting turned, he's still like kind of trying to offer them little bits of advice. And it makes me kind of like also curious if that was an intention from Death, and that's why this is their remedial course. Like if he knew fighting Sid was gonna kind of like, teach them through the fight anyways. I really like the idea that Sid is hella nerfed, and Maka acknowledges that. She's like, he's a knife meister, and he's fighting with a tombstone right now, and we're still having a hard time getting a blow in on him.
Yeah.
I like that she's able to deduce that is the problem. I need to split him up from the weapon, and she almost immediately is able to pull off a disarming move that kind of like puts them on more even ground with a 3-star Meister, because now they're fighting an unarmed 3-star Meister, and they are 1-star Meisters with their weapons.
Black Star uses Trap Star to sort of
pretty cool.
Suss out Sid's soul wavelength. So this is important. Souls have a wavelength that he can hear or feel or something, and he feels Sid coming out of the ground and knows exactly. And epic assassin stuff. Yeah, and trap everybody together. It was the whole thing. But I'm loving Black Star's little flavor there. It's kind of like, it feels like they have been fighting for a while. Like we're coming up to an important part of their life, but they've already been living, they've been going on and learning things.
Yes.
And not starting from the very beginning like some anime where it's like, they have nothing. This is my first day of academy.
Because with Maka and Soul, we know that they already managed to claim 99. Like
they're good.
They have done it. They only have 0. They don't have any souls right now, but they have done it before. They just kind of fucked up, which Death really told them, hey, don't fuck up. And they did. Then with Black Star and Tsubaki, they have literally not claimed a soul, but we saw Black Star manage to get the upper hand on somebody who did in one fight slay and have those 99 souls ready right there, and he could have taken them. He beat the person who beat them, meaning he probably would have beaten Al Capone and all of them in the first place.
Yeah.
So we know that they're capable. That's not the problem. Is a question of whether they're like powerful or not. Now the question is, can you, again, as Sid starts to throw in their face, like, you are not synchronizing together with your weapon as a Meister and a weapon, like growing a bond together. You're using them not as an extension of your power, but as like a weapon, and they're not a weapon, they're your partner.
They
So
could
I
be
feel
so
like
much
that's
more.
kind of like, I feel like that's kind of what this whole fight presents, that like, yes, they are strong, and they are, especially Maka, like she's starting to figure it out with Soul, but as we see immediately, again, they slip and the attack goes awry, and they are so quick to just start pointing fingers at each other when something goes wrong.
It's
They
just
can't accept accountability on themselves in order to grow through those moments, yet they just start pointing fingers.
they are right there. They did achieve soul resonance right in that moment, but then, like you're saying, as soon as something goes wrong, they're quick on each other instead of working together, and that's something they do have to get
Like, hey,
through.
that was great, let's try that again. And like, instead of that, we're getting, oh my
Positive.
god, that was your fault, how could you slip? What do you mean I didn't
Mhm,
slip? You
mhm.
gave it too much oomph. Like,
No, come on, you were right there. Cosmo said this looks silly. It's a very silly anime.
it's
These
very unserious.
It's unserious, but I love whenever they do actually fight, and like the fighting styles and all that stuff. Super fun. Maka always looks cool. She's dope. She actually, when I was reading it, she's the reason why I really wanted to pick up Reaper in Final Fantasy 14. When they added Reaper, I was like, I want to be like Maka. Hell yeah. Um, we find out as well, because Death the Kid was watching. I think they say that, or Death says that. Maka's mother was Death Scythe's second partner. That Death Scythe and Maka's mom made Maka, but Death Scythe had a previous Meister, Dr. Frankenstein, who was the greatest Meister and the first partner of Death Scythe. And we see him there screwing his head a little bit. So enter in Dr. Frankenstein in the next episode. In the first 3 episodes, Matt, would you have continued to watch it after the first 3? We get the prologue after the first 3. All prologues are done. Let's start the story.
Yeah.
Are you invested in the characters after
I
episode
think
3 or 4?
Yeah, I think so. I'm invested to the point where it's like, I like their faults. They're interesting because they're strong, but they have faults.
Mm-hmm.
They are not perfect. They are not these just and their faults are going to lead to interesting problems. Like, again,
Yeah.
right away with Death the Kid, the whole idea, I'm not going to break this sarcophagus, it's perfect. And
Mm-hmm.
he literally just lets himself take an ass beating until the thing finally shows himself. So that's like, it's a funny resolution, in a way where it's just like, it's not necessarily what I expect walking into the setup of, hey, we're going to go to the pyramids and we're going to, kill some guys and get a soul. And then it creates this interesting problem with a funny solution that I'm laughing
Mm-hmm.
at. And it might not be super, like a very crazy plot twist or anything like that, outstanding moments of revelation or anything like that, but it's entertaining, and it's making me laugh, and it's visually interesting, and like I said, it's just I'm just enjoying it for what it is, for sure.
It's really fun. I really enjoy reading the manga. I really hope I hope they speed up a little bit so we can get to the next little arc, because that
That is
arc was super fun.
That is the only problem with like doing a full setup for each of these characters for the first 3 episodes, is that now it feels like we're 3 episodes in and we haven't really covered much ground for story, but it gives me hope that now that we have these characters well established, like the story is going to we're going to be able to come flying out the gates.
Yeah, it feels a lot slower than reading it, which is probably only a me thing, because I'm like, okay, like, let's go. We're taking some time in some places, and I'm like, let's go. But I'm sure it just feels fine for somebody watching it for the first time. Really enjoy it. I like it. super silly, a lot of fun. I do like the characters' faults, and they make them more interesting. And I do want to see where they go because I like this little crew, even though Death the Kid isn't really a part of their crew. I kind of want to see where these kids end up, and maybe we add more characters. Who knows?
The
What's
fact
gonna
that
happen?
like in the third episode we saw, like you said, their little running around the place trying to figure out what was going on, and we've established that they know about Death the Kid, they know he's in the academy, like the thread's already there. Now it's just kind of like, how are we gonna and like reel
Pull
that
them
thread
together.
yeah
Yeah,
closer. I
it's
like
great.
that it's not right away just like, oh hey, you two groups, this is my son, I'm gonna put him in on this mission with you. It's like he's kind of getting his own moment to get to know them while they don't know each
He's
other.
watching.
And the opposite's kind of already happened because they know about him without him kind of knowing that that was happening.
Yep. They're gonna find out all of them are a little freaks, a little weird. They're all a little weird, and then I want to see how they all interact.
These little weirdos, man.
Watch
Little
Soul Eater.
weirdos.
Soul Eater episode 5-8 for next week. Soul Eater 5-8 on Crunchyroll. Check that out and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Matt, when you're not eating souls, where can they find you on the internet?
You can follow me on my YouTube at Matt_Galley, or on my socials, just add an ITS at the front, make it's Matt_Galley. Jules, when we're not here trying to make our way to 3-Star Meister, where can the people find you?
At JulesTheHuman, at JulesTheHuman on all social media. I post sometimes on Instagram, Threads, wherever. Follow this podcast wherever you're watching it. If you're watching on my channels, on Matt's channels, on Spotify, on the own YouTube channel, make sure to follow whoever you're watching it on and hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Again, if you're watching this video in the future, $5 super chat on YouTube on my channel gets an anime added to the chest. You can add some anime here to be picked out randomly. Give us a good one, kind of like Soul Eater. We might find our next favorite anime. But until next time, Soul Eater 5-8 next week. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.